Good evening and welcome to the Billy Wilder Theater, home of the public programs for the UCLA Film and Television Archive. I'm Mark Quigley, John H. Mitchell Television Curator for the Archive, and we're happy that you're here tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're in the midst of a tragic time for Los Angeles, and we're grateful to be able to make this time for a brief respite to celebrate one of the most beloved actors, characters, and series in TV history, Peter Falk and Columbo. And we are extremely grateful to have filmmaker Rian Johnson with us tonight to introduce tonight's screening. Thank you very much, Rian, for joining us. I'm going to turn the stage over to him in just a few moments. A few notes first. Archive screenings in the Wilder are free, you might have noticed that, thanks to a gift from an anonymous donor. And tonight's screening is underwritten by the John H. Mitchell Television Programming Endowment. Thanks also to the Hammer Museum, our community partners at the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the great team at Ryan's T Street Productions, and Allison Martino of Vintage LA. Let's give them all a hand. In the house tonight, we have Ryan Cassidy, son of our first Columbo villain, the truly great Jack Cassidy. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. His mom is Shirley Jones, too, so there's that. Also with us tonight is the family of legendary DGA Lifetime Award recipient Robert Butler. Mr. Butler was our stage guest twice here at the Wilder, a frequent patron of this theater. He was as kind and generous as he was talented. His unbelievable list of credits includes directing the pilots to the original Star Trek, Batman, Hill Street Blues, Moonlighting, episodes of the original Twilight Zone, Columbo, and so much more. He's greatly missed. So we're happy to have his family here tonight. Last notes. We'll have a brief intermission after Steven Spielberg's superb entry, Murder by the Book. And when we return, we're going to screen Peter Falk's brilliant Emmy acceptance speech from 1972. So you'll be rewarded if you come back after the intermission. After that, we're going to have a little experiment with Robert Butler's superb entry, Double Shock, starring Martin Landau. We've intercut it with original commercials and bumpers from a rare half-inch open-reel recording of an original broadcast from 1973 in New York. So you're going to see all the commercials, the original mystery open, every way, every shape, form of weirdness you can imagine. And you're going to notice a drop in image quality for that, but we think you're going to find the experiment worthwhile. So stick around. Our special guest tonight, Rian Johnson, is an award-winning feature film and television multi-hyphenate with an incredible filmography that we don't have time to do justice to tonight. So to that point, I'll just focus on the fact that he knows more than a thing or two about the construction of complex mysteries, related master villains, and charismatic dogged detectives. Ryan's two critically acclaimed Knives Out mystery features star Daniel Craig as a supremely gifted, unorthodox private detective, and his third film in that beloved series, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, arrives later this year. So I can't wait for that. Very relevant also to tonight, Ryan created Peacock's hit streamer Poker Face, an instant classic television mystery series that he and irreplaceable series star and multi-hyphenate Natasha Lyonne have fashioned in part in the tradition of Columbo, right down to the show's distinctive 70s-era Universal Studios look, Helvetica block yellow titles. Which, like, when I first watched that pilot, that blew me away. I was in with the titles, I was in. Last year, I spoke to Ryan for 2 seconds at a reception here and mentioned I was planning on presenting Columbo on the big screen. He kindly replied, I'd come to that. And true to his word, here he is. So please welcome filmmaker extraordinaire Rian Johnson to the stage.
Hey guys, I'm going to keep this really brief, as all intros should be, I strongly believe. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Mark, so much for putting this on. This is a really rare and really special thing to get to see these with a crowd on the big screen. And I feel like especially right now, because I feel like with all the pain and loss of the last couple of weeks in this city, there's been even more uniting and even more coming together as a town. And I've felt in myself, and there's been just kind of a swelling of a desire to celebrate Los Angeles. And I'm going to plant a flag. I think Columbo is the all-time great LA show. And if you're like me, if you love watching TV of this era shot in LA and location spotting, you know that Columbo is a 30-year span of just a temple to, oh my God, that's that corner. Oh my God, that's that office block. In the very first episode we're going to watch tonight, you're going to see the original Tale of the Pup restaurant. Also, it's really fun. The very last Columbo that was ever released in 2002, Columbo Loves the Nightlife, when Falk was 75 years old. There's a scene set in the Swingers on Beverly with like the cow wallpaper, which is a total head trip, because I'm sure there are people in here who, like me, spent a lot of drunk nights at Swingers in 2002, and to have that whiplash is amazing. All right, so 1971, the first one that we're watching, Murder by the Book. This was not the pilot for Columbo. They had done a couple of kind of pilot TV movie episodes prior to this, but this was the very first episode that aired in season 1 proper, where Levinson and Link were kind of given the keys to the show, and they kind of sat down and codified, okay, this is going to be the format of the show, this is going to be kind of the rules of it, and this was the very first episode to air. It was written by Stephen Bochco. This is years, yes, bring it up. He was 26 years old. This is years before Hill Street Blues. And basically, and I love this, William Link and Richard Levinson, who were the geniuses who really, like I said, were kind of the originators of this show. They took him under their wing, and they really mentored him. And he kind of cut his teeth writing Columbo's. If you know one thing about this episode, you probably know it was directed by Steven Spielberg, who was 24 years old. And I think for years I thought this was his first gig. It wasn't. He actually, Sid Sheinberg had been really pushing him at Universal at the time. And so he had directed multiple episodes. He had directed a couple episodes of a show called The Psychiatrist. He had directed Rod Serling's show called Night Gallery. And he had kind of cut his teeth and been around a bit. But it's funny, Falk had kind of final say. Falk could nix directors if he didn't like them. And so they had to sit Falk down and show him an episode of The Psychiatrist to get him to approve Steven Spielberg. And he said yes. Thank God. Stars the great Jack Cassidy, who is such a great Columbo villain that he joined, along with Patrick McGowan, along with Robert Culp. He's one of the ones who was a multi-timer. They brought him back to play multiple villains. That's how delicious he is. And then the second episode, we're seeing Double Shock. I'm so excited. Martin Landau is just fantastic in it. Again, directed by the great Robert Butler, and who had just an incredible career. And it has one of the all-time great cooking sequences that you will ever see on anything. Guys, this is a really, really special thing. I'm going to shut up so that we can all start watching some Columbo. So thank you guys for being here. And yeah, thanks again, Mark.